I can never get enough of Can't Get Fooled Again. The Obama re-election campaign made today Massachusetts Day on the campaign trail. It began this morning when the Obama campaign released this ad.
We're going to have a stronger economy because I'm going to be governor.
I have experience in the private sector. I know how jobs are created and how jobs are lost.
I'm going to work tirelessly as governor to bring more good jobs to Massachusetts.
I know how to solve a budget problem.
I stand very clearly for lowering the taxes.
There are times when I watch Mitt Romney saying the exact same things now that he said here in Massachusetts in 2002 in a robotic way that is completely hollow. It didn't work here, so I'm not quite sure why he thinks it might work nationally.
The Obama campaign senior strategist David Axelrod then set up a microphone in front of the Massachusetts State House at the top of Beacon Hill. Massachusetts lawmakers told stories about serving there under Governor Mitt Romney.
He never wanted to look for new jobs. He was always only looking for his next job.
Massachusetts under Obama and Patrick has had the kind of economic performance that Bush and Romney tried to promise but never delivered.
He tried to bring those same principles to Massachusetts, and the middle class suffered. That's what happens when you try and translate those values and those principles into the governance of a state or a country.
Yes, that was booing you heard in the background, some booing. That came from Romney supporters. Hours later, Mitt Romney explained that those hecklers were actually there because Mitt Romney sent them there.
This building, and most of the events I go to, or many of the events I go to, they're large groups of, if you will, Obama supporters there heckling me. And at some point you say, you know what, sauce for the goose is sauce for the gander. If they're going to be heckling us, well, we're not going to sit back and play by very different rules. If the president's going to have his people coming to my rallies and heckling, why, we'll show them that, you know, we conservatives have the same kind of a capacity he does.
New NBC News Marist polls show the presidential race tightening in 3 battleground states. In Iowa, President Obama and Mitt Romney are even at 44 each. In Colorado, President Obama and Mitt Romney are statistically tied at 46 and 45%. In Nevada, President Obama and Mitt Romney are also statistically tied 48-46. Joining me now, MSNBC's Alex Wagner and Ari Melber. Alex, fool me once, don't get fooled again. Whatever that was. We're trying to get that Bush thing on a loop so we can just keep running it throughout the night.
A ringtone, Lawrence.
Yes, a ringtone. There you go.
That's what we all need.
So, Alex, Mitt Romney's darkest secret is now out. It turns out, for some period of time, he was governor of Massachusetts.
Everyone knows now.
Yeah.
You know, it is amazing. And we talked about this up until this week, that the one thing that would seem to actually qualify Mitt Romney for the presidency, namely his executive experience as the governor of Massachusetts, was something that nobody talked about. Now, inevitably, we knew that Team Obama was going to bring this up. I do think the timeline has shifted a little bit, given the fact that the Bain stuff became a little bit more controversial than perhaps they thought. But this is a period where I do think they're throwing everything out there. The summer's going to be slow. They'll see what sticks and prepare for an all-out assault come September.
Ari, those Massachusetts legislators have never actually participated in a presidential campaign before. No one's ever thought to go to get Massachusetts legislators to do that. But we're going to be hearing a lot more from the Obama campaign about this governorship of Mitt Romney's that he just absolutely, I mean, I don't know what you have to do to get Romney to talk about having been governor.
Yeah, it's something that he seems to think will just not be an issue on this campaign, and that is weird. I think the ad is actually very devastating because it is so specific and it is so accurate. For example, there's a section on taxes, and Mitt Romney talked a lot about how he would not raise taxes in Massachusetts, and it's true. He didn't raise the standard taxes, sales, or income, but what he did do was add $750 million in fees, which is just another way that the government collects money like taxes, but fees are a lot more regressive. So the less you make, the more they hurt. and that now is a fact about his tenure that we know. And so while you may look at some of his promises today about taxes, you should look real close because last time he balanced some of those budgets to the extent that he got closer to them on the backs of the poor, and then also ended with about $2.6 billion in debt. So balance is charitable.
Yeah, and Massachusetts voters are very alert to that. They don't see any difference between the word fee and the word tax, and they've been considering those things that way for a very long time there. I want to play a piece of Rush Limbaugh today because Rush, who knows that Romney is not a real conservative, has a struggle, and he had this same struggle with John McCain, is how do I, Rush, crazy right-wing conservative, get behind someone who's not a crazy right-wing conservative by Rush's definition? Let's listen to how Rush got there.
Romney has responded, oh, yeah, well, I've got an 80% success rate, Mr. President. The companies that Bain Capital, using its own money, by the way, went in and rescued, 80% success rate. What's your success rate, Mr. President? 0. Every company you've attempted to save or industry you've tried to give a boost to with taxpayer dollars, not even your own, are bankrupt. I like this. I don't care if Romney's not conservative enough.
I don't care if Romney's not conservative enough. Alex Wagner, there you have the elasticity of Rush Limbaugh's principles.
With supporters like that, who needs enemies? It is actually makes me feel bad sometimes to listen to these Romney surrogates go out and make the case for Mitt Romney. I think, Lawrence, when you're talking about Massachusetts, of course, the elephant in the room is the conservative base. I mean, Mitt Romney does not want to remind anybody that he was governor of Massachusetts because no Republicans think of Massachusetts as a state they'd even want to visit at this point. And the other thing, of course, is that all roads lead to Romney care. And it's a reminder of what Mitt Romney did while he was in office. Conservatives don't like that. And I am of the mindset that there is no time, if Mitt Romney is even elected president, that he will ever have the belief of the conservative base. They know, I think they will always think he is a wolf in sheep's clothing, and he is going to have to go throughout this entire campaign cycle proving his conservative bona fides. And I think if he is president, he will have to spend a fair amount of time, if not his entire presidency, trying to prove that he is, in fact, as he has said, a severe conservative.
Ari, the Romney campaign got tricked into campaigning today in a state they are going to lose. California is not a swing state. President Obama is going to win it. And Romney went out there to stand at Solyndra and say, look, the government put some money into a company that then failed. Romney failed to mention all the Bain companies and Bain that used government money to survive, and not to mention the subsidies that companies got in Massachusetts while he was governor. But he's got this one little company. And how does that stack up against President Obama's ability to go to Michigan, to go to Ohio, and talk about saving the entire auto industry?
Well, I think you nailed it on the political map. Maybe it's really sad for those who are doing an early wake for Mitt Romney, but yes, he doesn't have a backyard, middle America Detroit story here. He has this sort of bank shot about Solyndra and saying it didn't work, and they took some reporters out there and didn't tell them where they were going, and then they showed up, but they ended up competing with a portrait of George W. Bush, which in Republican politics is tough competition because W remains more popular among the base, at least. And the other point here I'll make that ties back to what you were flagging with Mr. Limbaugh is this government, this administration has put down much bigger bets, and they have paid off. They loaned $8.6 billion to Chrysler, got it all back, sold a stake of that to Fiat, and the employment in the top 3 auto companies in Detroit is up 8% from 2011. Still huge job problems. No one's saying that you fix it all with one government loan. But Mr. Limbaugh has his facts wrong if he's suggesting that some of those big, bold, and at times politically risky bets haven't paid off. The numbers show they have.
Alex, Byron Urick made an interesting point. He says that the Romney campaign is afraid of doing any kind of disavowing of the bloviating ignoramus Donald Trump or anyone else because they say figures who, Byron Urick says, figures who are demanding a Trump disavowal would almost certainly lead to more calls for more disavowals of other figures in the future, like, for example, Rush Limbaugh, who's bound to say something, within the next fortnight that should be condemned.
You know, I think this is a gross, it's an unsurprising and gross miscalculation on the part of Team Romney. Again, this is a fear-driven decision-making process, which is we can't alienate anybody on the right, anybody on the base, or we're going to have problems at the polls. They are terrified of having Mitt Romney plant a flag in the ground and say, you know what, this is wrong. He has been offered this opportunity time and time and time again, whether it's Sandra Fluck or Rush Limbaugh or Donald Trump, and he has proven to be, I hate to say it, but a coward in terms of really going out there and showing he has some core and some integrity. You know, whether he is offered choice opportunities like this before November, we shall see. Hopefully he will take the baton and run with it.
He's following that George W. Bush commandment of don't get fooled again into renouncing anybody. Alex Wagner and Ari Melber, thank you both very much for joining me tonight.
Thanks, Lawrence.
Coming up, now the Republicans say there is a war on women, unborn women. And they went to war with the Democrats about it in the House of Representatives today. Crystal Ball and Michelle Goldberg will join me on that. And a landmark ruling today by the Federal Court of Appeals in Boston saying the Defense of Marriage Act is unconstitutional. This country's leading constitutional lawyer, David Boies, will join me, along with Zach Walls. And in the rewrite tonight, remember that crazy billionaire Joe Ricketts who got caught hatching a super PAC plan to attack President Obama using Reverend Jeremiah Wright? That crazy billionaire is not giving up. He is back. He's joining forces with the craziest college president in America, planning to attack President Obama through the president's father. This is truly poisonous stuff, much worse than that crazy billionaire plan that he had to abandon already, and that's coming up in the rewrite.